Well, good morning, fellow wargamers and history buffs. Welcome to our Thursday learning how to play the Battles of Napoleon. This is Eylau 1807 from Sound of Drums Games. Uh, my colleague Matt and I have been playing a couple of scenarios, getting a feel for how the rules work. We are using the most recent set of rules, which is version 1.5, which is available for download, and you can find links for that at Board Game Geek, and I think also from Sound of Drums website itself. So a couple of possibilities there for you. The current scenario that we are playing is Davout's Attack. And this is where we've got multiple divisions of infantry from Davout's Corps coming in on the south map. And their objective is to take Serfalen and Klein Sausgarden and this other little town, Melonkheim. I'm going to guess that's how you pronounce it. And we were chatting at the tail end of the last installment last week about the challenges of coming to grips with the cavalry if all you have to work with is infantry. And it is no easy task. And it seems that the rules are rather slanted towards the cavalry in this regard. And I don't know if it's intentional or it's the sort of thing that there is something to do with the, how would you put it, the understanding of the period. Um, I know that with some of the other Napoleonic games that are out there, it is possible for infantry to come to grips with cavalry, but only really when the cavalry is in a tired or exhausted state, and it doesn't, and the horses are basically blown from having done a cavalry charge, and so therefore the cavalry aren't able to dance away from the oncoming infantry. This particular system doesn't seem to offer that as an option. So you can have tired cavalry, and it's still able to get away from attacking uh, infantry. So there doesn't seem to be any way to do that. But there still is probably a way that the French might have some success in this scenario, um, purely by sort of pushing the cavalry screen back. Although, given the preponderance of cavalry that the Russian player has at their disposal, it's going to be very costly for the French, and it's probably going to, you know, take a while, and it might not even be achievable under the circumstances. So, but we figured we'd keep experimenting with it and see. All right. Um, so the situation we have right now with this particular scenario, to get everyone kind of caught up, is I believe we're at the second turn of the scenario, which is the 10 o'clock turn. I believe with this particular scenario, we have, it goes until the 1 o'clock turn or so. So we've got about 3 or 4 more turns to go. And we've done some activations. The French have activated the Friance division, which moved forward. Um, and and when it moved forward, one element of it was hit by a reaction charge, which is what happened over here. And those guys got abused and pushed back. And so that's part of the challenge here with the infantry is getting to a position where they can do something and they still get kind of punched in the face with the potential reaction charge. So we're going to talk about the rules here and mess around with it a little bit more.
And I'm back, and I just want to give a quick apology. I generally try and time these things well, but my dogs woke my wife up, so I had to get her some tea.
No worries. I'm drinking my Earl Grey this morning with a dash of milk, the civilized English way of doing it.
Well, she's from New Zealand, so she's with you. She's civilized.
There you go. Yes. Well, now some people will say it's not civilized because it doesn't have a little squeeze of lemon as well. So maybe I'm only
She's
partially.
impartial.
Yeah, I'll say, well, that's because I'm only partially British. So we've got probably some English, probably some Scotch, definitely some Scotch in the old heritage department there. So, hey, so what I wanted to talk with you about, I know we had voiced some frustration with the rules here regarding cavalry, and we'd done something that was not quite correct. So,
Wait, let's fix.
yeah, so you know how we talked about, I think we had this unit here. We kind of had squeezed it between this unit and this unit, and we did an attack, right?
Right.
And we'd said, well, it can't retreat because it's would be retreating through a zone of influence kind of a thing. So I was reading back through. So I think we should read through the evasion rules very closely.
The evasion or the retreat?
Oh, this is evasion, right? So it's cavalry evasion. So cavalry units may always evade by retreating one hex if an enemy infantry or artillery is in an adjacent hex at the beginning of a simultaneous fire segment, comma, if an enemy infantry unit moves adjacent, or if the opposing player declares a charge with an infantry unit. Okay? Evasion doesn't trigger reaction fire or reaction charge. An evading cavalry unit doesn't change its facing. Evasion is not a form of retreat. A cavalry unit is not tired after executing evasion. Evasion is not allowed if any units block the movement. Okay? Now, here's where it's important. It says an evading cavalry unit may not end its evasion in a hex adjacent to an enemy unit, but must continue the evasion until it reaches a hex not adjacent to an enemy unit. So what would have happened was, in the case of, I think, this group of lancers, is they would have evaded to that hex. Well, it's adjacent to an enemy. And then they just could have evaded one hex back, and then they would have been fine, right? I don't know where they were. I'm just saying, for example, that's what could have happened. So the combat need not have happened at all because they could have just pulled away. They didn't have to stand and fight. Similarly, with this guy here, we talked about, well, I can just bring up these infantry and kind of pin them and attack them like I did before. Based on these rules, they could evade. So as soon as I moved up, they could evade. And it's only if they're basically surrounded, then they can't evade. So if
you can use your infantry to push back.
No, what I'm saying is the infantry can never force the cavalry to fight unless the cavalry is completely surrounded and has no ability to move a single hex.
Right.
Yes. So short of that eventuality, the cavalry can always dance away. But now here's where things are interesting, right? So an evading cavalry may evade into an obstructed hex via a road only and becomes tired. Okay, so if you are pinned against the forest or a village, as long as there's a road, you can move along the road, but you'll become tired. Now, here's the last
Right.
paragraph. An infantry unit that moved adjacent to a cavalry unit or declared a charge, aka an assault against a cavalry unit, can continue moving with its remaining movement points and must pay normal costs to move adjacent to an enemy unit, including the same cavalry unit that just evaded. So, what we'd thought before when we talked about things was, say I move, this infantry unit up to you, and so that would have cost me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to move into that hex, right?
Right.
Um, and then I say, well, I'm gonna do an assault, right? And then you move back, and then I'm stuck, right? And I can't do anything more. Well, this is saying that I can continue my movement. So then I could then go 6, 7 and
Right.
push forward, right? And if I had more movement points, then you could move back, and then it's going to be, whatever else. I'm still paying for that, um, for the entering your zone of influence. Well, we don't really have zones of influence. I'm coming adjacent to you, right? So I pay that extra fee for it. So I kind of calculated things. If we had a situation where, the cavalry unit starts 1 hex away from the infantry, and the infantry kind of goes through this little maneuver, and the cavalry never fights. It never stands and fights. It is possible that over the course of 3 activations for that particular infantry division, they could move the whole of 9 hexes forward. So that's if the cavalry never stands and fights. Okay, that you could potentially then push the cavalry back. That's if the player who owns the cavalry allows that to happen, right? So it is conceivable that I could, if you didn't do anything and I just moved forward, over time I could push this group of cavalry back. It would fall back, and I could make some headway. But if you decide not to retreat, then we have to do combat. And the worst that can happen is you move back half of your movement. Well, half your movement here is 1, 2, 3 hexes. You get another activation, you move forward again. um, and so therefore, if you do that, then my progress is stymied to maybe 3 hexes forward or 4 hexes forward over the course of an hour. Um, and so, and yeah, and that's the kind of what I had discovered looking through and really finally reading the evasion rules.
I'm
Um,
sorry I led you down the wrong path, but this is still pretty interesting because it does give cavalry a really good chance of keeping the infantry back. But it's more subtle than I was playing it, and frankly more interesting because at some point some of this cavalry now is going to have to fight, not just stand there.
yes, yes. At some point in time you will, but the other advantage that you have is that you can do those reaction charges and then just do all kinds of nasty things to the infantry that are marching up. Um, and so that's another option. So the player with the cavalry can reaction charge, and why the heck not reaction charge? There's no downside to it. The worst that can happen is you're tired, right? Maybe you lose a single increment. So there's no downside, and the upside is, hey, maybe you get a stack of guys to run away, and if it's infantry, then you are doing 2 hits to that stack. So you're doing altogether like four increments of damage for that. So why wouldn't you attack? Um,
Not only that, you are, if you pick and choose which reaction charge you make, you're going to have infantry that's come up in support of the other one. So if you charge the first one that comes towards you, that's not as good as if you wait until there's 2 or 3 stacks and then charge one of those stacks with one of the other pieces that can do a reaction charge. And then you get the opportunity for the neighbor to lose a stand check.
Right. And
So
so,
you kind of got to play it.
yeah, but now this brings up another point, which is um, how do we do something where we declare the assault? Because, say, for example, I've got, we'll just say I'll have this infantry. I'll move them here. So, say I'm like, okay, I'm going to move this guy here. So that's 1, 2, right? And I say, I'm going to be
Right.
assaulting you, but I'm telling you now in the movement phase, because if I don't tell you now in the movement phase and I wait and I move the whole thing, and then I say I'm assaulting you, then I have to remember how many movement points I have left for this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy and all these people that moved. And then so I say, okay, I'm going to be assaulting you. And then you say, well, then I would retreat. So then, so if that's the case, then we'd have to kind of do that then. Um,
Right.
and then if that's the case, you retreat, then I'm going to advance. So then that's going to be 3, 4. I'm going to assault you again. You pull back, and then that's going to be 5, 6. And then you can pull back one last time. And I can't move into that hex because
Don't have to
I
move.
don't have enough movement. Right. So that's how you'd have to kind of handle it. It would then force the player to say, yeah, I'm going to stand and fight. And if we did that, then now the question is, okay, say I bring this guy up and I say, okay, I'm going to assault you. And you say, fine, I'm going to stand and fight. And let's say this guy's not tired. Let's say that he's still
Yeah, it's
fresh,
fresh.
right? And then I bring somebody else up, and you say, "Oh, I'm going to reaction charge that guy." You're like, "No, no, no. He's already committed to this assault." So we'd have to figure out some way of dealing with it, so that way it's not so gamey. I mean, 'cause
What
otherwise,
if
yeah, and
what if there was an arrow in this module? And when you get close to
yeah,
somebody, then you could put an arrow on your infantry unit. And if I'm going to countercharge, I can put an arrow on my cavalry unit, and then that pins them into that attack. That's a great idea.
that is a great idea. I don't have. It looks like you have a newer module. I saw when you signed in that you've got version 1.0.1. Is that correct?
I do, but it's trivial.
Okay. You didn't
Um,
add the arrow yet.
no, there's a stand. So now I know that if I'm adjacent to something that runs away,
Hmm.
you got to do the runaway first.
Yeah.
So everything next to the runaway can mark a stand, and then you go back and resolve those. So it's
Okay.
it's it's minimal. And then
Oh.
the other thing I've got is a graveyard. So there's
Oh,
a
nice.
graveyard
Okay.
marker,
Okay.
and you can now stick things in the graveyard. And Nicholas has done a beautiful job here. All the graveyards, all decorated. There's columns and lines and officers talking and artillery firing. It's a real Valhalla.
There
They
you
they're
go.
they're the arrows will either be in the module, or there will be an extension that you can add.
Okay.
But I think that would solve our problems in bookkeeping, because you do have that situation where one unit moves forward, and then you have to make a decision whether you're going to evade, stand, as a cavalry stand,
Right.
or countercharge.
Yeah.
And then when the next one comes up, you want to make that decision. So if you've already made the decision, you can't make a new decision.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's kind of what I was thinking with this, because otherwise, um, as I said, we'd lose track of, we'd have to put some sort of marker out. We'd have to figure out, okay, I spent 4 movement points getting here. How many movement points do I have left? Can I reach you? All that jazz.
It's a little fiddly, but I think that with arrows, it would work better. By the way, for everybody that's watching, Eric's actually the one that suggested that. So I was kind of teasing him by saying, "What if there was a way?" So anyway,
Well, and I was expecting you to say, and we've added it to the module, so
if only. No, I really wanted to kind of decide where that one lives, and I sent it off to the guys, and I haven't gotten a response back. So if I don't get a response back, I'll make it an extension.
okay. All
But I
right.
don't want to fiddle with the actual module if it's not a consensus.
Cool. All right. Well, so that's kind of what I was thinking with the infantry cavalry business as far as how to deal with it. Um,
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's the best way of doing it, but I mean, I figured we might as well, with this scenario, experiment with what
I think it's a great idea. We should do it.
what infantry can do, what cavalry can do, what sort of choices you have. But if you really want to slow the infantry down, well, then you stand and fight. And even if you lose, you're only losing, in most cases, you're just losing one increment, right? And if you
Right.
charge or attack or reaction charge, you have the chance of doing more damage to the opposing player.
Well, I'm
Um,
glad you found this, and eventually I think that we probably would have, but you did the work on it, and I appreciate that.
that the infantry can come to grips with the cavalry, and I got some response from somebody like, "Well, horses can always outrun a man." I'm like, yes, unless the horse has just done a charge and it's completely exhausted. And then I don't know if you've ever been around a horse that's completely exhausted, but you're not going to get it to move no matter what's coming at you. You might have to flee on foot, but your horse ain't going nowhere. And but needless to say, everyone's got their own
Your horse
idea.
changed sides.
Yeah, well, and of course we see this at like Waterloo, where after the British charge, I think it's what the First Corps, I think it was the Union Brigade or whatever it was, charges, and they go down the hill or whatever else, and then their horses are like, "We are done," and they just stand there, and the guys are like dismounting, trying to drag their horses back up the hill, and I mean, I know you live on a farm. I don't know if you have any horses or you ever worked with horses, but I have. And
Oh, yes.
if they don't want to go, they're not going, and they don't
I have
care what
goats.
uniform the other guys got marching towards them. They're going to sit there and chew on some hay, and they're going to rest. And you are completely, in a pickle.
I've
So,
got goats, and they're absolutely transactional animals. Whoever puts a raisin in their mouth owns them
mm,
till the next raisin.
until the next raisin, there you go. What have you done for me lately? So.
That's the anthem of the goats.
There you go. There you go. Well, I think you've had an activation and I've had an activation, and I think over in the bag we pulled a French cube when we last played. So it's the French get to do something exciting again, and this time I think I'm going to put it um, on Freon's division again and see what sort of progress I can make with some of these guys before we, if nothing else, just get them somewhere else. So Freon had the second division, and currently everyone is in command. Um, Yep. So, and we're going to move these guns. Let's see, where can we move them? Not anywhere helpful, I'm sure. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right. Oh, we've got Steve O saying up early, coffee refills necessary. Yes, yes. Definitely tea and
Thank you.
coffee is I should probably put that on the thumbnail. Um, Grim Harbinger says, greetings. Of course, Grim Harbinger, I think, is in the UK, so it's sometime in the afternoon in his part of the universe. All right. So maybe I'll move these guys up here. That's 1, 2, and maybe next time I can unlimber them so they can shoot out across the universe. Let's see. The woods cost 2 movement points. So 1. So these guys are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gets them there. Yep, it is 2:30 where Grim Harbinger is. So in the UK. All right. So I'm going to take this top unit that's here in the square. I'm going to push him forward 1. I'm going to say that I'm going to assault that unit. So it was 1 to come out of square and 2, 3 to go there.
All right. Well, this is actually a great case because this guy is a Cossack, so I can't charge you
Right.
because I'm in your forward arc.
Yeah.
So I have to evade.
Or you
So
could
I'm going,
stand and fight.
or I could stand and fight. Right. So we've got a 7 to 6, and it's a +1 because I'm Russian, which is okay.
Right, but
So
it's a
that's
minus something because you're green. Or are they green?
they are not green actually. They are regular veteran units.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay. These were the better Cossacks. There's some Cossacks somewhere else that are green. I think they're the only green troops that are on the map.
I
So,
believe you. I haven't caught those yet. Maybe it's the other. Maybe it's the other wing. I don't
yeah,
know.
it is. It's the guys that are up on the right wing of the Russian army. I seem to recall that those were the only ones that didn't have a little chevron on them.
Of
So,
course, it's Borodino. You have just clouds of green Cossacks.
I've got some beautiful Cossacks. They sing, they dance, they magically have avoided, getting killed, and in the process of all their fun stuff, they have held up just the entire French army.
Do you
Yeah,
play like balalaika music in the background when you do
I
that
should.
on
I
your live
probably
stream?
should. I should probably put on the soundtrack from Dr. Zhivago and
Yes.
just have some fun with that. So,
Great hook, by the way.
oh yeah, yeah, classic.
Right.
Um,
So I'm going to stand and I'm going to let you assault me.
okay, all right. So that one is you're committed to the assault there. Um, then I'm gonna have now these guys are lancers, right?
Right.
So they're tired. I think from it's hard
They
to
are.
tell, but um, because this is where I would have liked for the tired instead of them being just this very slight gradient of light green or light blue or whatever it is when they are tired to
Yeah.
instead have something like a brown stripe or there's some color that because look at their movement, right? They're a 7.
I know.
And
They
these
they should
guys who
be.
aren't tired are 7, so you're like, well, how do you know what they were before? So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Well,
that's the only complaint I have sort of with the color scheme of things. If they were trying to make it really easy,
yeah. So it's a 9 normally, it's a 7 when it's tired,
yeah,
but you don't kind of know that.
yeah, yeah,
There, this is real like Bauhaus design. This is real minimal user experience, and it's really beautiful for somebody who comes from this world. But there could be better indicators, perhaps. I don't know.
right,
Maybe the 7 has a background or it has a reduction strip or something like that. I don't know.
right, yeah. I don't know either. I'm gonna have then um, the the top unit here in this stack. He's gonna come forward here, and let's just move him. We'll leave the square marker back. Oh, Okay, maybe it's not letting me move the square marker off. So I'll take the guy that's on the bottom and
Oh,
move
it
him.
doesn't, it's not a square marker, it's a square layer. So what you need to do is
Okay.
right click on it and remove it there.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Sorry, that's a little gamey.
Yeah, that's
Apologies.
okay. So I've got um, this guy here. He's adjacent, I guess, to both units. So this guy does have a chance to, if he wanted to react away, he could. This guy could react away or evade if he wishes to,
Or stand.
or stand. Right. So what I'm going to do is this chap here is saying he's going to he's going to assault that unit.
I'm going to stand and let you assault it.
Okay. All right. Good. Cool. Good to know. Um, all right. So that takes care of that. So those two. Good. Now let's see, what else can I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this guy's going to go. I'm going to see if I can kind of get around. I'm thinking maybe if I get 2 activations in a row, I might be able to surround this guy. So he basically went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get there. And this guy can't evade cavalry, who does a little tricky thing like that. Good. Now I'll have this guy come out of square. So I remove the square layer, and that is down there. Okay, good.
We have the layers and the markers, and the layers come off with a right click menu, and the markers are separate counters that sit on top. So you can play this just like the cardboard game if you want.
Right, but what the square markers took up the
Obscures.
whole thing, right? So you can't see what's underneath. So that's why I
Right.
like the square layer, because it,
Just the choice. Just the choice.
yeah, because you could at least see what was underneath the square. So that's one, and then and he can come out any facing. So then 2, and then 3, 4, and I'm going to assault that guy.
And I'm going to evade.
Okay. All right, and then I'm going to go. See, what did I do? So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm 1 less movement because it's second activation, so I can't go any further. So that is the extent of his movement. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can get that guy over there. Oh, okay. So I think I've moved everybody except this guy here. And I think I'll just leave him where he is for the moment. All right, and bring Friant up here, so he's kind of got everybody in his orbit.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. So that's it for mine. I've got then these multiple attacks, an attack here and an attack there. So we can go ahead and just do these. So let's do this one here first.
Okay, let's do that one.
Yeah, there's no fire combat since you don't have anything exciting. It's a 1-to-1, so there's no pluses.
When I grew up, we played on I think it was actually called Empire. It was miniature rules, and we had the choice for dismounted cavalry and carbines on cavalry. I've always missed that in Napoleonic games. I think that we should be able to shoot sometimes,
Well, they do
especially
have
with
that. They
dragoons.
do have that for in some of the games. The Russian dragoons actually did fight dismounted. So
Certainly in 1812.
during the, well, these are, most of these are all during the 1806, 1807,
Oh,
1807. So at like Heilsberg, There are Russian dragoons that you can then deploy as infantry, dismounted infantry. And I think at Friedland they also have that option. Um, so that's like, but that's in the Lobatai to Heilsberg, Lobatai to Friedland. I don't think that in any other games other than those two, you've got dismounted dragoons as an option for them. I think what happened was they realized they're better just to keep them in the saddle and let the infantry do their thing. Um,
Yeah.
or you have, in the case of the Jena campaigns, uh, Napoleon's got a group of dismounted dragoons that are attached to the guard, and it's basically a bunch of guys that he ran out of horses.
Oh, right.
So
Yes, they
they've
did,
got to
didn't they?
march and fight as infantry because they don't have any horses. Um, and then, the horses had to go for the guns of the wagons or somebody else, and so those poor guys ended up having to hoof it until they were able to capture enough enemy horses to mount them up. So, all right,
Which we just talked about. Give them some hay.
yeah, all right. So you're Russian, so you've got a +1.
Right.
Um, you're not being charged through the flank rear more than one hex. Um, infantry, square formation, nothing like that. No leader, no, and then for me, no defensive fire, this, that. Um, I don't think there's anything else other than just the +1.
Right. I,
Okay,
I I see that lance bonus, and by the way, that's just because I don't get it because I'm not the
you're not the
attacker.
attacker. Yes, if you're the
Yeah,
attacker, then yes, it's a
yeah,
nasty thing to have.
it's a
Um,
nasty thing.
yeah. So, all right, here we go. Let's roll the dice. Let's check the dice. See what we get. A 7 becomes an 8, so that's a case where we both take a loss and we both stare at each other. Okay,
Could be
that was
worse.
exciting. Well, and if your whole goal is to prevent me from marching anywhere, then you're achieving your goal, even though you took a loss. So,
Right.
all right, then this guy is going to attack him, and I think it's the same thing. It's a 1-to-1. Um, you've got the +1 for being Russian, but you've got then an additional +1 for your leader. So we just go ahead and roll the dice and see what we get for that one. So +2. So that's going to be a 7. So that's enough for a loss for you. So you're going to lose an SP and retreat back half your movement potential. And you'll be then marked as tired.
So it's gonna be 6 for this guy.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just to avoid him sitting in your hex, I'm just gonna move him back 1. And he needs to be tired. There we go.
Now, why didn't the leader retreat with the unit that he was stacked with?
Yeah, I haven't seen that in the retreat rules. Generally, the leaders just float around, but let's put him back there because he's hanging out with them. We'll move him around when we need to, because that's important. Because now these guys are out of command, so now I've got a lot less infantry or cavalry that I can respond with. So that's an important point, but I don't think it's listed in the rules. I will have to find out. Let's do it.
Okay, so here it is. It's under leaders. Leaders have different functions in the game as described. The main role is to control their units. Leaders that are stacked with combat units of their formation and that are involved in an attack may grant uh, a die roll modifier attacking or defending. They may also suffer casualties and they need to retreat at the same rate as the units they are
There you
stacked
go.
with due to the failed hold or stand roll. So yeah, so they
Perfect.
would go back. And I think, don't you go just back 6? So he was here. So
He's got
one,
to go back
two,
to 6.
3, 4, 5. So you should be 1 hex further back, right? Because you were started
Because
in this hex.
at
1,
some point I
2,
didn't
3,
get farther
4,
from him.
5. Yeah, there you go. Okay, cool, cool.
Because when you're retreating, you have to increase the distance between you and the assaulting unit. So at one point, I must have gone from like
I think you went
4 to
sideways or
4.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, we went
Okay.
sideways from here to here.
All right.
That
So
was
then
my
I
mistake.
can advance in, and that's that as far as excitement goes. Um, cool. So now we would go back to the bag, and you can go ahead and grab something.
Yeah. Oh, the monitor. I
And
got a
it's a
green.
Russian one. Okay, so the Russians have the potential of extricating themselves. So now the guys that are. So this is where the rule is. So this is where the command rule becomes a little bit strange, right? So you are, with the exception of, I think, the guy that you're stacked with. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this guy and this guy are the only ones that are in command
That's
at this
correct.
particular moment, right? So then
That's correct.
everybody else um, would move to put themselves in command, or have to be in a spot where they're in command at the end of of their activation.
Or they can just choose not to move.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the only guys that could quote unquote attack would be this
The one
guy
dragoon.
and
Yeah.
that guy, because everybody else is currently out of command, provided that's
Correct.
the activation that you opt to use.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay, so I think I'm going to put this on Bagavoo.
Okay.
So here we go. Okay. So this is Bagavoo's first activation, so there's no modifiers.
Right.
Yeah, okay. One, two, and then we're going to flip this guy around. And flip him. And this guy's going to continue on. 3, 4.
And he needs to be turned inverted.
Yeah, to general order. Right. Okay, so then. So that's got 4 movement points left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's
Flip.
probably it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Facing doesn't really matter here in town, so I'm just going to
Yeah.
make it match everything.
You want it to
Oops.
look pretty.
I want it to look pretty. Okay. I'm going to go. 1, 2, 3, 5, and we're going to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and rotate. One, two, 4, 5, and rotate. Oops.
No, I don't think so. Once you go into this, don't you flip him over? Because
I should,
this.
yeah, he's going to flip over, but I was going to flip him over when I got to the town.
No,
You're right.
but
It's
he would
weird.
flip over here, and then his
Oh,
movement.
he loses his movement
He
points.
loses
You're
his
right.
movement
He
points.
goes to
Yeah,
the low ones. That's right.
yeah.
That's good. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Good call. Okay. There we go. That's good enough. Okay, so that's Baglevo's infantry. Now, what are we going to do with the cavalry? Whatever are we going to do? Still thinking here. Hold on.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine.
One, two, three, 4. I'm going to take this guy. He gets an initial rotation, which is not quite enough. But like I said,
Yeah, but you get a rotation with each hex you move.
yeah, so
Yeah,
we just got to start going one direction.
yeah.
Oops. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't declare my charges. This guy here is
Oh,
charging
I'm going to
cavalry
actually reaction charge you when you move adjacent to me. Oh, actually, I
from
don't
the
know if I
back.
can. Right? Is it
I think it's a
just when you
frontal
come
arc.
adjacent or only through the front?
I think it's through the frontal arc, but let's check it.
Oh, you're right. A front hex. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So now I'm going to undo a move here just a second so you can count back. All right. I think that's where it was. So this is 1, 2, 3. Oops. 4, 5, because I'm
Okay.
entering your 6, because I'm entering your French. You're French, I'm Russian.
Yes. Yeah, you still had enough movement. Those guys move fast. All right,
Oh,
we
I
still
kind of
have a
blew it.
few
But
other
well, that's all
people.
right. We're going to go with what we got. One, two, three, four,
Well, yeah.
five. I'm very carefully navigating around the Serpalin label because I think that might be obstructed terrain. It's really too early.
No, the only obstructed terrain is, well, there's a little woods down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to get into square here?
Yeah, these guys could form square because that you're coming down their part of the woods. I was going to say something the last time when you were moving him, but so
Yeah, it's important. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going to assault there.
okay.
I'm going to charge. Okay. Now I got still some cavalry to think about here. No, all of my Bagavus moved. Now I've got a real issue because I've split my forces. So I can't. Next turn, I'm either going to be able to move my cavalry or move my infantry. But my infantry is about where I want it. So I think I'm going to leave Bagavu down here. So
Yeah,
we
I mean,
can.
there's no way I can come to grips with your infantry in the next couple of
Yep,
activations. So
I think that's accurate. So command range. Looks like my cavalry's good here.
now you might want to think about where you're going to be if you advance.
Oh, good call. Yeah, let's go one more just in case.
Yeah.
Yep, good call.
All right. Well, let's do
Okay.
our combat. You pick where you want to start first.
Well, I'm going to start at the end of the line first. So I'm going to go the Lancers here against your Chasseurs.
Okay.
And that comes out as a 1-to-1.
Yep.
And you got a +1 Russian.
No, I'm not
And
Russian. I'm not Russian.
I,
Why?
I always, yeah, sorry,
I
my fault. So you
mean,
don't have the +1
I
for
don't
Russian.
have the
So
+1
it's
for Russian.
even. And then
I am
you're
getting
being
hit
charged.
in the rear, so that's going to
So
be a
it's
-2.
-2. And no
Um,
leaders.
and there's no leaders, and you being a lancer doesn't have any impact on it, right? It's only a lancers
No.
against infantry, right?
Yep. That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. So there's a -2 on the roll. Shock your dice. 11. That's
Ah,
going to be a
man.
9. So you take a loss.
All right.
Machinations of fate. Hey, so the French, and you're tired.
Good call. And then we got the same 1-to-1 here.
Yep, with the same results or potential modifiers, right?
That's
That's
looking
going to
better.
be a good one. Yep. So let's go ahead and SP loss for them. So he's going to go back this way, right?
Well,
That opens up
let's go
one,
through the
right?
right. Let's go through the things. So the first thing is increase the distance between the assaulting hex.
Yep.
Right.
So
So that
there's, yep,
meets that.
yep.
Now, is it moving into an enemy, zone which cannot be named? No, it's
No,
not. It's not losing any support stacking points, and so now it needs to move to the uh, northwest, west, or southwest. It can't, and that's okay because it's an optional if it's
right,
possible. So that's exactly the right spot for the first one.
right,
But I just wanted to go through that list because it's important to remember those modifiers.
right. So then there's 2,
Mhm.
and then there's 3. And then do we mark them tired before or after the retreat?
Except, Eric, just wait, let me see here. I technically think you need to move here because you need to, the first rule of robotics is you always have to increase your space between the enemy,
Ah,
and here you
okay.
have it.
So he's there.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. That works.
That's fiddly, but those are the way it's written.
Okay.
Okay. And then I also had this.
So then your guy moves forward and he's then marked as tired.
This comes. Wait, that's this one, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Time. Okay. Okay. Well, the world could be worse.
Yep. All right. Then we have the last one, which is down here. I'll get
Is, yeah.
to take a shot at you. So I'm on the 2 table. And it's defensive fire, so I'll get a +1. So it's just see what we can get from the dice. A 10
Oh,
becomes an 11. So
which
that's
is
a
one.
single hit.
Yeah, that's actually important. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So now I'm looking at a 1-to-1. This is bad odds. I shouldn't have done this. 1-to-1.
I mean, what's the worst that happens? You just lose another increment.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right. I mean, that's what's ridiculous about, to some extent, the attack stuff. You might as well just attack most of the time. So let's see
And and
here.
and the attacker holds the position, so he's
Yeah,
still positioned himself that you now have to navigate around him. So it's not a loss.
yeah, yeah.
So cavalry
Um,
at 1-to-1 is 0, and
Square charged by
then
cavalry, so there's a +4 for that.
right,
Um, there's no leaders. You're a regular unit. Um,
yep.
yeah, it just looks like there's a +4.
And he becomes tired. Well, that's not too bad
So that's a
actually.
9.
It's still bad enough, but
So you'll take another loss and you'll be tired.
ta-da. Great. Okay, I think that's all of my movement and combat.
Okay. Well, that's something exciting. Okay, so we go back to the bag and we see what we get. I'll grab a chip,
Oh,
and it's
I'm
the
going to bring my
fire
moved
chip.
fire chip. Okay, great.
Yeah. So now at this point, you've got people that are adjacent to my infantry that can then evade back a single hex. So, like, this guy can pull back 1, either there or there. Yep.
I will do that.
This guy here and this guy here would then also pull back from that guy that's in square. And then this guy here would pull back from that chap. Okay. And
And then this guy.
then, which guy? Oh, yeah, 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 over there. Okay. So, yeah, that's, that is that. So then that means that I don't have anything that can fire at you because I don't have any unlimbered artillery at this stage in the game.
Right.
So therefore, I don't have anything that can go pop pop. So that's the excitement of the fire cube. Basically, got you to move back a little bit.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead and pull another cube.
Okay.
And
It's a
it's a blue.
French. Okay, so now I have to figure out who I want to move. And I think, how many cubes did we have? Did we have
You
5
have
each,
6.
or?
I have 5, I think. Let me read it in the rules. Let me go find it.
Let's see. Each player has 7 ACs each turn.
7. Okay.
Put the remaining 6. Okay. Huh. Okay. Well, I'm just looking at the original rules. I don't know if there was any
That's right.
amendments.
That's right.
So that means that there should be 14 and then
Wait a
2
minute. Are you
fire
sure you're looking at
cubes.
Davout's attack? Because I've got a different number here in mind.
I'm looking at the one that came in the box, so I'm sure it's completely outdated now.
Let's
But
get. Hold on.
that's the one that I'm reading. It says the players have 7 ACs each and 2
Yeah.
fire
Okay. So
cubes.
let me get the volume one. I have the version 1.4 rules. You're looking at the 1.3, I
I'm
think,
looking at
scenarios.
the 1.1. I'm looking at the original
Oh my
rules that
gosh.
came in the box. So
Okay. Well, there's a
I didn't
discrepancy.
print out whatever the other one is. So because I didn't
Okay.
think
There's
that the
there's a
scenarios changed
discrepancy. I think
much.
we should go with yours because you've got the printed rules. Okay. And that's probably what we set up with. So let's go with that. The new rules are different. There are 5 ACs each turn for both sides and 2 fire cubes. So there should have been 12 total. And I think that there were more to start with. So I think we definitely set it up with the old instructions. So let's continue with that.
Well, let's see. There's 6 cubes left in the bag. One of them is a
A fire.
fire cube. So that means there's 5 cubes left in the bag.
Look, God,
I've
you're doing the
played
math.
2, right? And there's
I
another one
know
that came
math.
out. So that means there's 3. So there's 8. And then you've played 2,
I've played two.
right? So there's 10. So that's 5 cubes for each of us, plus the
Okay.
2 fire cubes. So we don't have a sufficient number of cubes based on the at least on the scenario rules. So
Ah,
if there
but
was
we do have on the new scenario rules, and probably that's what was set up in the bag when we started the scenario because it's the module for 1.4,
okay. Yeah,
right?
and that
So
makes it really hard for the French because then I'm only getting basically either a full activation or with one division or a full and a partial or a couple of partials from the stuff. So with 7 activations, I could move a lot of stuff. That means that just about every division is getting at least 2 divisions are getting a full hour's worth of 3 activations.
okay, I think that we all assumed this was the old rules for scenario. Let's go with that with 7 for this one, okay? Because I agree with you. I think I'd like to see you move more. I want to explore this mechanic with the cavalry and the infantry. So why don't we
Well,
call it
no, no, no.
two
Well,
extras again?
let's just keep doing what we've got because that's what we're doing. We'll just,
All right.
but what I'm thinking is then this makes it even more nearly impossible for the French because with only 5 activations, and I'll have 4 formations on the board. I'm not able to use my full potential. And so
Not at
even
all.
if even if I'm just doing everything here with Friant and Morand, um, it gets to the point where just like, okay, there's no way in hell that I can physically get units into those places by the time the scenario ends. Which
I think
means that whoever redid the scenario where they took away those activation cubes, there must have been some thinking behind it why they would do that. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll just
wish I
let's
knew.
keep chugging away with how we have things now. So I could either activate Friant again, or I could activate somebody else. I think I'm going to activate Morand. Morand is first division of the French Third Corps, so we'll plunk a cube there. It's his first activation. And let's see. Um, Okay, we'll move this guy one. I'll turn him just so that he looks more menacing. And then 2-3 puts him there, and I'm going to attack your lancers. That's provided you don't attack me first.
I'm going to try a countercharge.
Yeah, well, you don't have to. It's unlike Labatai where you have to make a morale check. You just say, I'm doing a reaction charge. So
Yep.
I can take a pot shot at you. Um,
And you can try and form square at 0 hexes or 1
you
hex.
know, I somebody had, because I posted something on Board Game Geek, and somebody had posted a response saying that they didn't think, or maybe it was in the comment section for the last video, they didn't think it was possible to do a form square. And so here and I when I reread through it, I was kind of thinking along the same lines that it might not be possible to form square. Um, because it's, where is it here? It's under forming square. So it says, if an infantry unit or stack has an activated moving enemy cavalry unit within 4 hexes of itself, it may form square at any time, right? But you're not activated. I mean, not under the way that we've been thinking. They
Right.
use the word activated, right? In this particular context of this game, activated means, hey, it's Bagavoo's activation, right? And you're not really
Right.
moving. I mean, unless we're being really generous with the interpretation that you're moving. Um, so I don't know. That's why I was like thinking, looking at it, going, I don't think I can do that. So that, I mean, personally, and of course, if we if I'm looking at this also through the lens of like the Labatai system and some other Napoleonic systems that I've played, usually the reaction charge is, or opportunity charge. This would be considered an opportunity charge. It's happening while I'm moving. Um, you can't form square. You can't change formation. You basically have to take your lumps. Um, and so therefore, uh, I don't know. I know that we did
Well,
it last time, but
I,
having looked through the rules, it depends on what somebody's definition of a moving enemy unit is, because
I
you're
think you're
certainly not
absolutely right.
activated.
Ah, yes, that's right. It has to, I think you're exactly right. I think you're exactly right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there's a line in here in 17.2 that says a unit's formation doesn't need to be activated to be able to form a square when the enemy cavalry is activated. But it's based on the activation of the cavalry that does it, and this is not activated. You are
yeah,
correct.
yeah, yeah. So personally, I don't think I can. So I just going to have to take my lumps. So
It's your, yeah, all right, there we
yeah.
go.
So I do get to take a shot at you. So I'm on
Yep.
the 2, and there's a +1. So let's roll really well. That's not good enough. So that's that. So now we go to the odds are 1-to-1. So there's no benefit there. Um, let's see. And you've got I don't know where the modifiers are. They're on your end, I guess, right?
Yeah, they're here. So we've got uh
So there's a -3 because infantry is not in square. And then where's
right,
the
but that's
Lancer
next.
thing? Oh, that's up in yours. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's got a -5. So I don't think there's anything that you could roll that's going to save these poor guys, right? Because even if you rolled a 12 -5, that's going to be a 7. So they're just going to take their lumps and leave.
Well, I rolled a 7, so
Yeah, yeah. So this is where,
I was gonna say hold my beer because I can generally roll a really bad die roll.
well, and so with some rule systems, if you roll say for example, in Labatai, man, 11, on a morale check is, unless you're the guard or something, you're going to fail, and 66 is this. So there's some rule systems where, like, if it doesn't matter how good you are, you could be the Imperial Guard. If you roll that 11, you fail your morale check, right?
Yeah.
And it could be then you've got some sort of militia, which is the terrible stuff, whatever, and even with modifiers, there's no way they can do it. But hey, if you roll that 12 or you roll whatever it is, they could still succeed.
Yeah.
So this is,
Golden BB.
yeah, yeah. So they sort of have something like that. But in this particular case, they're just going to go back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 puts them there. Okay. All right. So now, I learned my lesson. Just send one poor sap in to get beaten up instead of 2 guys to go in and get beaten up.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
so we'll go here. So this guy's going to go 1, and then uh, yeah, we'll rotate him, I guess. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong keys. So 1, 2, 3, and we're going to we're going to assault this guy, and of course this guy has a chance to evade if he so desires.
well, doesn't this guy have the same
He
chance?
does, yeah.
So we're going to take that one because that's what you were assaulting.
Yes. Okay. So that was 1, 2, 3. Here's 4, 5, and we're going to attack.
Evade.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So now, let me just take the layer of square off. The squarishness. Okay. So that's 1. And then this guy's going to, these guys will move forward. That's 2, 3. They're going to assault that stack, or that
And I'm going
unit.
to stand.
Okay, cool. So that takes care of those guys. And now let's go ahead and see what else to do. We've got more people rolling up from Moran's division. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, we'll bring these guys up here, and they're also going to join in on the attack.
If that's the case, then I'm going to evade. Do I get a chance to evade now? I think I do if another one comes into my space.
Well, but
Or have I committed?
if that's the case, then these guys have movement points left. Do they get to keep moving?
I would say absolutely.
Okay. All right. So then go ahead and evade back. All right. So then this guy can then move forward. He still has movement points left. He's going to attack you again.
Okay.
So you can either stand or you can retreat again.
Shoot again.
Okay. And then this guy still had movement points. So he's going to move here. He's going to say that he's attacking that chap. Okay. And then he had, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he can go here. 6, 7. Do you want to? Okay. Cool. All right. So now, so looking at this, I don't know that there's a way that I can ever get this guy, right? So if I move up an infantry unit here, you could go there. If I move an infantry unit up here,
I
you can
can't.
go
I
there.
can't. I don't think I can evade into an enemy
You can.
zone. Which...
You just can't stop there. But remember, this
Oh,
is
right.
what we
Because I
talked
keep
about at
going.
the
I keep
beginning.
going. I keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So if I had you surrounded by cavalry, then yeah, then you're hosed. But if it's infantry, I could come up here, and then you could move.
Well, let's
Or
be creative. What if you moved here
yeah,
and here,
yeah,
and then you could do it. It would be kind of weird, but you'd end up with units here, 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 and here. You could do it. You could do it. You could do it with an artillery unit, which I couldn't get. But you could squeeze me out of existence here. But
just
then you're
by
talking about a less than 1 to 1 because you're going to end up with one infantry unit against an 8 cavalry. I mean, so it's going to factor out as a 1 to 1. Technically, I think you can do it, but I don't know if it's worth it.
yeah. That's the question. And then if I then I have to do well enough to, well, no, actually, because these guys could attack you, right? They're adjacent, um, so they could join
Well,
in
no.
on the attack.
Oh, they couldn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you are right, but yes, it's going to be costly to do
Yeah.
it. But yeah, you're right. I've got my artillery, I could roll some artillery up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I could put an artillery unit there. I could put an artillery unit there. Um, 1, 2, right, and they are just all they're doing is existing to hold the hex,
Exactly.
right? And this
Hmm.
guy's here to hold the hex. And this guy can actually come up and unlimber
And fire.
and fire. Yeah, yeah. So we can do that. And then,
But you don't want to go adjacent because you don't want me fleeing through the hole in the pocket.
exactly. So then this guy can go 1, 2, there. This guy can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep. Now you got me.
And now I got you for what little it's for. Have no idea if it's worth it or not, but hey, what the heck. Okay, so
Technically speaking, you should take that cannon shot right away, that
yeah,
artillery
so
shot.
that would be the last thing that I do would be to do that, and then I'll move Miranda over here so he can join in the escapades. So then we'll take a shot at you. So at a range of 2, we're times 2, so that's going to be a 4 factor on you. So here we go. Let's roll on the 4 chart. A 9 on the 4 chart is that's a
One.
single hit. Yeah. So chipped a few little guys off.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're going to attack you with this. Yep. So those 3. So that's going to give us what? 18, something like
18.
that. Yeah. 18 to 7. So that's going to be a 2 to 1. Um,
Okay.
I don't know. Is it close enough to 21?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So actually, it's a 3 to 1. So we'll take it. Any benefit we can here. So that's going to be a -2 for that. It is then a +1 for you being Russian. So we're just at a negative. We're at a -1 altogether. You're being charged for more than 1 hex, so we're back up to -2. Um, you are being attacked through your rear hex,
Rear.
I guess, here. So
Yep.
that's going to be another -2. So we're up to -4. Um, and then we go down to the assaulting units. We didn't take any losses. We're not cavalry. We're not tired. Uphill, downhill. So there's a -4. And then Moran adds in a -3. So we're up to
Ouch.
-7. Right. So now the only thing that could possibly inconvenience me is if I rolled a 12, in which case then Moran would potentially be wounded in combat. Um,
Right.
so we still have to roll, and it's a 9. So that guy is just going to go poof because he doesn't have anywhere that he can retreat to.
Well, he's going to lose his loss, and then he's going to lose losses until he gets it away, and that's going to be forever. So off he goes to the graveyard. Can you see my graveyard if I show it on screen? Do you
I
see that?
don't. No. And same thing with your, it's just coming up saying bad data in module, graveyard error, could not find map. So it's because I've got the version of the game 1.0 on Vassal. Um,
Right, right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. So, okay.
So I can send you a screenshot, but it's not super exciting. It's just a new window with my unit sitting in it.
All right. Then I will advance that guy into the vacated hex, and that's that. Okay, so we were able to squeeze you, but it took the entire division to kill one regiment of cavalry. So
Um,
yeah,
it still stinks, but
yeah. Well, you only have 5 million more regiments of cavalry. So what can you
correct.
do? Um,
Correct.
okay, so that was that activation. But yeah, it was good for us to. But as you see, short of having an entire division there's no other way that I could have done that, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's definitely a grain of rice with a pair of chopsticks.
oh no, it's like Jello with a single, well, or maybe with three pairs of chopsticks or something, right? It's like trying to pin down. It's more Jello than rice than anything else. The cavalry are super slippery. So all
Yeah.
right, well we've got time. Let's go back to the bag. And I don't know
Okay.
who grabbed the last one.
I think I did.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and grab this one. And it's another blue one. Okay, so the French get to do something more. See if we can somehow surround more people and do evil things to them. Probably not going to happen. Uh, so
I think I
we,
made yet another mistake, by the way.
which is what?
And that is, I don't have a leader for the artillery reserve, so I think it should have moved during Bagavouz. So next time I get an opportunity, I'm going to move that artillery.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Well, I mean, do you want to move them now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
go ahead and
I'll
move
do
them
it in
now.
my next opportunity. Are
Oh,
you sure?
yeah, yeah, go ahead and move them now.
I'll go ahead and do that.
Come on, there's no money riding on this game.
Eylau from money.
Yeah, this
I
is
do
well, this
think
is
that's
like,
excellent.
Las Vegas poker or whatever it is.
Oh, I want to go here. Okay. That was here. It's going to go here and here. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Sorry. Thank you.
that's okay. That's okay. All right. So now let's go ahead. I think I will. I'm going to activate Morand a second time. So that way maybe he can capitalize on some success. So that's my second cube in a row for the French. And let us keep up the pace of the attack. So this guy is going to go here, and we will declare these guys as the target.
Well, first of all, let me move Bagavoo on top because it's this, and I'm going to retreat or
Okay.
evade.
Does this guy also wish to evade, or is he going to stay there?
He's going to evade.
Okay, cool. So I spent 2 points there. So then now I can move here. And so that's going to be 3, 4. And I think everybody's still tired, right? Yeah, it looks like it.
Yep.
So then we're going to declare another assault there. Okay. And then we'll declare an assault there. Okay.
Just evaded.
Yep, just
I
evaded.
can't evade next to you.
You can't
So
evade
you
next
have
to me, so
to,
you would end up there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no,
So
that's
that
still live next to you.
was, so 2, 4,
Yeah.
and I can't move that guy any further because um, it would cost me extra to do so. So let's do something with this chap. He's going to move here, so that's 1, 2, and we're going to declare this guy the target of the attack.
And he can't evade.
Why can't he evade?
Because I can't stop
You
next to
can't
you, right?
stop
So,
next to me. So you can, yep. So you basically move back there. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So then, so that was 1, 2. I can go here. That's going to be 3. And then I can move here. That's going to be 4, 5. And I'm going to attack that guy. So you could either evade now or stand and fight.
I'm going to stand and fight.
Cool. All right. Then I got more people to come up. So let's move this guy now. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to attack that chap. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. We've got somebody that can move. So we've got this guy. We'll just switch who's on top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And he will join in on this attack there. All right. And we will just modify his facing slightly. So, all right. Other people that need to move. I should have probably taken the move marker, hit the move marker thing before all of this.
Oh,
Okay.
right, because he moved last time.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
But
we know
these
which ones
guys,
it
these
was.
guys haven't moved, and Moran hasn't moved. So,
None of this
okay.
stuff below Moron, nothing has moved.
Yeah,
This turn
yeah.
for this activation.
Okay. So then these guys can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll throw them into that combat. 2, 3.
Now, I said I was going to stand and fight, but I've
Yep.
got 2 more units that have come in. I should be able to invade at this point, right? Because it's based on the movement coming in. Do you think so, or do you think it's committed?
Um, so this is the thing where the rules are. I mean, that's where there's this whole problem with the whole evasion thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could say, yeah, that you could, that you do want to evade. If that's the case, then you probably should have done it when that guy, when this guy
The
here
first
came
one
in.
up.
So when the
Yeah.
first guy came in, so here, let me just move that other guy back. Okay. So when this guy moved in and I said he's going to join the attack, that would have been when you would have pulled back.
Right.
Or
Okay.
this guy is still fresh. He could actually do a reaction charge. He can do an opportunity
Oh, yeah, I'm good
charge.
on that.
Yeah.
No, no. No, 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 no. I'm going to do that. At the beginning of a simultaneous fire cycle, or yeah, it's a gray area. When should I have done it? The rule says cavalry units may always evade, and then I'm going to drop some stuff if an enemy unit moves adjacent. So it doesn't really say when we're. So let's leave it there and let's take our lumps.
Okay. Yeah, because there's got to be, that's why I'm like, you you either evade or you stand and fight, but you
Right,
can't.
because otherwise I'm going to wait for you to move all your units, and you're going to get me like from 6 sides or 5 sides, and then I'm going to move,
Yeah, yeah,
and then you're stuck. Right, that's not right.
yeah, and that's why that's why then it becomes really cheesy, and so this if you decide you're going to evade, then you evade, and and kind of take it as it is. Okay, so
Yeah,
1, 2,
that's right.
3. So we're going to move this guy up here. And 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll move him here. And well, actually, we'll leave him there, but we'll just put him in line formation. And we will change his facing slightly. There we go. And the guns. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, actually, 1, 2, 3. They can only go so far. So we will park them here. And 1, 2, 3. These guys will go there. Let's see. The horse guns will limber up. So that's going to be 2. 3, 4, 5, 6 gets them there. And then these guys are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And they'll stack then with the guns. Yeah, and then we will put Morand here in the center of the action. And everybody should be in command. Oh, wait, and we got this guy here that ran away last turn. We'll move him up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try to get him closer to, yeah, he's in command again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right, so we just have the 1 attack here. So I've got, looks like 4 to 1 odds. Yeah, 16 to 4. So there'll be a -3 for the odds, a +1 for you being Russian. So we're at -2. You're being attacked for more than 1 hex, so we're at -3 again. Is there any other modifier? Matt?
Not on my end.
Okay.
Not on my end. Nope.
All right. Okay, so we just have a -3. So here we go. Let's chuck some dice. 6 minus
Oh,
3.
that's gonna do it.
Okay.
So he takes a loss and retreats 5. And he is part of Bagavoo.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right, and then flip him over. He's tired
He's
having.
tired.
Yep. All right, and then these guys will advance. All right, and that's it for that. So we go back to the bag of goodies.
Okay, and I'm gonna
This
pull.
time. Yep.
There we go.
It's
Blue.
another blue. So this is the
This is
third
your
French
fifth.
activation. So we can't do any more French activations this turn. Do I get reinforcements this turn? Was I supposed to get somebody else? What turn is this? This is the...
This is the... I got to do my Roman numerals. This is 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Okay, so let's see. All right, so I do get Gudin's division. All right, so I could bring them on if I wanted to, or do a third activation with... Let's see. This is my last. This is my last activation cube for the French. So I either do something more with the guys I've got, or I bring the reinforcements on. And the question is, what can I achieve with anybody else at this particular stage in the game? Well, and so Friant would be 2 movement points less, and his cavalry would be, what is it? 4 movement points left. Wow, those guys are hardly moving at all. I think I'll activate Friant and see what I can achieve with Mr. Friant. So, let's see. We'll take the cube and we will plunk it there on the 2nd division. We're just seeing if we can make some progress over here to try to reach that little town. All right, so this guy's going to move forward here. So that's 1, 2. And we're going to declare that as our target.
I'm going to evade.
Okay. All right. And then now the question is, how destructive do we want to be? All right. I think that's about as good as we can do. We'll put that guy. Oh, I can't go into square. I have to go into square at the beginning of my movement.
Right. Or when there's an
Or when there's
activation
an
of cavalry.
activation guy. I'm used to like Labatai where you can move and then at the end of your movement change formation.
Yep.
So
Yeah, they got rid of that with the 1.5.
yeah,
You could do it in 1.4.
yeah, which is nice. I mean, because then I can move forward, you push back, and then I put this guy in square to make him less of a target for what you might be doing. Okay, well, he'll just have to stick around there and take his lumps, I guess. But I can put him, I could change him in the line if I wanted to, correct?
Yes, you can.
Okay, then I will do that. Bup, 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 bup. Let's see. These other guys out here. 1, 2. Okay, so these guys are going to go 1, 2, 3, and declare them as the target for a assault. Whoops, hit the wrong counter. So those are your Cossacks. So you have a chance to either stand and fight or run away.
And run away.
Okay. And I cannot do anything more with them because I don't have enough movement points. All right.
Okay,
These guys can go 1, 2, 3, they can move there and declare that guy as the target.
Hold on just a second. I'm just checking your rule. Okay, good. So let me see. I'm going to.
Did we play something right, or were we off the mark?
No, I'm anticipating my next step. The question I have was, when do the activation, or excuse me, when do the tired get flipped back? And the answer is they get flipped back at the end of the activation, not at the end of the turn. So
What?
that's in the cavalry unions. Yeah, I just looked that up because I was
What?
wondering here. So under 17.3, um, last line on the page 20. All tired cavalry regiments are flipped to their fresh side at the end of the activation segment.
Right. The end of the activation segment is the last. So the
Oh,
if you
right. The
look at
last of
the
all the
sequence of
activations.
play,
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
it's
Yep. Yep.
the yeah. So it's technically the end of the turn.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
Yeah, but
Good.
it's you still have then people that are under hold or regroup, get SP recoveries, and then it says here after after the regroup or people are refreshed, then it says turn all cavalry units to their tired side back to their front side.
Correct.
So yeah,
Correct.
no, otherwise it would just be like completely broken, and I
Yeah.
would say,
Yeah.
okay, guys, you got to go back to this. All the nice things I was saying are revoke
Gone.
those.
Gone.
Yeah,
Undo.
undo indeed. Okay,
Delete from log.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So this guy,
so
you just moved next to me, right?
yeah, so
So I
you
am
can
going
either
to draw.
stand and fight or you can run away.
I'm going to run away.
Okay, that is a prudent thing to do. I don't have enough movement points to do anything exciting in that particular regard. So his movement is done. Let's see. I still have these guns that can trundle forward. We'll push them forward 1 hex. Um, these guys haven't moved yet. These guys haven't moved yet. These guys haven't moved yet. So, and neither have those guys. Oh, all right, and the square can move 1, so we'll move those guys there like that. And we'll move this cavalry. Yeah, we'll move them there like that. Okay. And then I think Friant is fine where he is. So that was my big exciting activation. We don't have any combat since you've conveniently run away.
Yep. You may want to move Freon because these guys are out of command.
Those aren't Friant's guys.
Oh, then you're right. They're
Yeah, they're
Morons. Never mind.
Morons.
We're all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. This is where the color scheme is very subtle, right? This is a very
Very, very
light
subtle.
green. This is a slightly darker green, you
Yep.
know. Um, so yeah, that was the challenge that we were having. So it's if they didn't have the numbers up here, yeah, it would be hard to tell who's who. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've used the numbers a lot. You're right.
yeah. Okay. So that is it for Friant. So now the next cube that comes up either has to be a fire cube or a Russian cube. Of course, there's no more French cubes, so I'll go ahead and grab one, and it's the fire cube. So at this particular stage in the game, we've got people that are adjacent that can scoot away, I guess, right? So this guy can scoot away. This guy can scoot away. This guy can scoot away.
I am going to do that.
Yeah.
That is what I want to do. And that is it.
Okay.
And I don't think you have anything unlimbered.
I don't. I don't. I even if I
Didn't you have a
did,
horse
nothing.
artillery? You didn't. Yeah, okay.
I did, but I moved him forward. So he was back here and I moved him up here. So
Got it.
he's set. Now, here's an interesting question, right? So
Mhm.
these guns of yours can actually turn.
They can, can't they? In the
They
fire
can.
mode.
Yeah, during the fire, right? When the fire cube comes up, they can change facing.
They're going to do that.
Yeah.
I was going to do that before, but I didn't.
Oh.
There we go. So I've moved that in my fire during the fire move.
Yep. So now you can take your shots.
Interesting. And I've got a couple.
Yeah.
So let's grab this one first.
Okay.
Right. So that's one, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
So that's within range of horse artillery.
Yep. And I think at 5 you are times 1, so you're going to be on the 6 table.
6 table. That's what I expect.
There's no pluses, so yeah, just check your dice.
That's a
So
no.
a 6 on the 6 table is a miss. Okay.
Okay. Same thing here.
Okay.
Now, this guy here, if this were Labatai, I'm not sure that he can shoot because he's got a unit in front of him.
Well, let's take a look at the line of sight rules here real quick and see what they say. Line of sight. It says an artillery unit may fire at targets that are not adjacent. In order to fire at a distance, the artillery needs a free line of sight. If the line of sight is blocked, the artillery can't fire at the target. Higher elevations, obstructed terrain, and combat units are considered blocking features and block the line of sight if the artillery unit and the target are on the same level. Line of sight is judged from the center of the artillery unit's hex to the center of the target hex. Blocking features in the firing hex or the target hexes don't block line of sight. Line of sight can be traced along the hex side of an obstructed hex. So, yeah, so you're fine. You can fire at them.
Okay, good. So let's take that. It's the same
Yep, you're
one.
on.
Now it's a 5. So let's just check that.
I think it's the same multiply, right? You should be on the times
4 and
1.
5
So,
hexes.
yeah,
Yeah,
so you're on the 6 table.
no good.
Nope. Okay. Then you've got the next one over, but they're closer, so they're going to be times 2. So you're going to be on the 12 table. And you will
And
get a
I'm firing in
modifier
column.
because I'm in column, so you'll have a +2. So 12 table with a +2.
Oh, which
A
is,
5,
man,
which is then a 7. So that's a single hit. Okay. Chip those guys away. All right. And everybody else is blocked. So that takes care of the fire.
indeed. All right. good. So let's get the bag and let's
So it's got to be a
do
Russian one
that.
at this point because that's all that's left.
Exactly. Exactly. So Russian. Good.
Yep.
I'm going to do Davout,
Okay.
and I gotta find my Russian table. So now I am down 1 point on infantry and 2 points on cavalry.
Correct.
Good. So let us go here. So this infantry here, 5. So it's 1. And is he in command? He is not in command. So he has to stay there or move back into command. So I'm going to let him stay there. And I'm just going to check my command range. So these guys are here. So I'm going to move them back there. Yep, that's good. Okay, and the rest is just the cavalry up here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is Bagavoo. I'm going to move them. Where am I going to move them? Going to move them here. Rotate. Rotate. Going to move these guys back here. I'm going to move these guys. One, two. Wait, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and that will kill him. And then these guys are going to go. Ah, that's not going to work.
I mean, they'd have to go around behind the guns, I guess, going
I
off to
think
the
you're right.
west, right? Otherwise, they stop as soon as they go there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because they're down 2.
Yep.
And we're going to rotate them that way. No, the other way. And then last is Bagavoo himself. So we got 1, 2, 3. No, I think I want them there. All right, so now he has command range out to there. So the only thing that's missing is his infantry on the far corner.
Right. And this cavalry that's over here.
Right, but
But
he's going to move he's going to move that way anyway. So I'm kind of
yeah.
okay with that. All right. Okay, so now all my artillery can move 1 hex.
Right. And I'm just wondering if they would have been moving at all. I mean, I'm playing the. I'm doing the play testing for Labatai's Eylau, and I'm just like, they those position batteries and stuff just stayed where they were, pretty much. So that's why I'm just like, okay, would they have would they have moved? Should they be moving? Even though we know they
Yeah.
don't have a commander, they're not. It doesn't say anything about them being attached. Like in the Battle for Night Quarters, it tells you that they're attached to Bagavoo's command.
That's why I assumed they were here, and I could be wrong. I really could be wrong. Hold on, just let me pull this. I assumed that they were. And then the reserve artillery. I'm just looking up the reserve artillery.
Yeah, it says
Russian reserve artillery.
they're under the defend orders. So if you move them, you'd have to spend a cube on them.
Well, it unless they're part of Bagavu,
Right.
and it doesn't say that.
Yeah. Yeah, they are
Does it?
listed as a separate command, while with the Battle for Night Quarters,
They're
they
included under
are
Bagavu.
included. So I'd say that you shouldn't be able to move
We're
them
stuck.
unless unless you spend a cube on them.
Well, there's no way to spend a cube on them because you don't have a space. Oh, you do have
You do have a
artillery reserve.
space. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we're just presuming that Bennington is somewhere within what, 10
Okay.
hexes or whatever kind of stuff.
All right.
So
So
if you want
let's
to
hold
move
this
them, then
thought
just go ahead and just spend
because my
the
next
next.
cube is going to be a Russian,
Yeah.
right? We know that.
Yeah.
So let me go pull another cube and let me apply that. Okay, so I'm applying. Yeah, so it's a Russian. Okay, now we're going to put it out in the right place here. And left wing artillery reserve, defend. Yes, it does. Okay, so now it has a cube
Yep.
and it moved.
Yep.
And so now I'm going back to the bag
Yep.
because it's the last one.
Yep.
Am I right? Yep, units remaining 1. There's a
Oh, and
room.
you actually moved a cavalry unit that you shouldn't have. This one here that's under Bagavoo is not actually part of Bagavoo's command. It's left wing
Then I'll put that
cavalry.
on the left wing and we'll make that
Yeah,
all better.
he was over here, I think.
So left wing, I've moved
So
left
this
wing now.
guy, yeah.
So now he can move. So he's going to move to that spot.
Nope, he can't because he's got to end up in command at the end of his movement,
I
right?
and I've got von Palen's over here.
Yeah.
So we've got to get him back where he was.
Yeah.
He
So
was
he was right
he
here, I
evaded,
think.
so he would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had evaded one. So
Yeah.
he's there. Right, you are. Right, you are. Okay, so let's move the left wing. Not him. So this is going to be the second, so it's down 2. So it's a 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's move this. It's got to move back towards command. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to stay there. This guy's going to go 1, 2, 3, and he's in command now, so he can stay there. Well, I'm going to move one more. And I'm going to move this one 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So if they're moving, they're back into command range. So that's the one hasn't moved, and I'm going to leave him there. And then this guy is going to move to there.
Okay.
All right. Now, all of them are moved, and so I'm going to move him. So he's right here.
Okay. Now you, yeah, you still have this guy that you could have moved, right? This Crossier, he could have moved what? 3 hexes, I guess.
2. I can't move there. 3. That's what I'll do. And now he's in command.
Yeah. And then
Right.
the Cossacks can stay where they're at. They don't have to move if you don't want them to move. Right?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm back in a good place.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
Okay. So that's it.
Do we have any more cubes, or is that it? Okay.
That's it. So we're at the traditional stopping place, and I really need to get on to work and things.
Okay, perfect. I will go ahead and save the game. I think this actually worked well. I think it was worth our time to mess around with it a little bit.
I was ready to ditch it. I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah. So I'm advancing the clock. Well, let's see.
No,
Where
let's
are
get a
we?
snowstorm. Let's make this fun. Yeah, it goes to 11.
Okay. Yeah. So we're at 11. Okay. And then there's a button somewhere that flips all the tired units over, you said?
Yep, that is the cavalry unit with a little down arrow.
Okay, I'll
That's
go
that
ahead
one.
and press that button. No, that says move trails. That's movement trails. That's the wrong one. Oh, okay. There we go. I think that fixed everybody.
All the little down VCR buttons are resets.
Resets. Okay, and then we can take the
This,
smoke markers off,
yep,
and then we can hit the bag one, and that's going to put everything off of our charts back to the bag, right?
right, and we can kill all the moved markers.
Yes. Okay. All right. So is everything clear and beautiful looking? It is.
Gorgeous,
Okay,
just
cool.
gorgeous.
So now we'll go ahead and save it. Well, good. So yeah, let's keep messing around with this and see. I still think it's an uphill battle for the French because they've got with having two fewer activation cubes. They can't really get their full force into effect. I mean, at this point, if I brought in Gudin, it's going to take him all of his activations just to get to where Morand is right now, right? And that would burn up 3
Yeah,
activations that the French can't afford. So
the
that's why I'm
French
like,
have.
if they don't have 7 activations, you're really only moving 2 divisions.
Yeah, well, infantry has 6 in the first, 5 in the second, and 4 in the third, right?
Yeah,
So it's 6 plus 5 plus 4 is so it's 15 hexes maximum without any opposition.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Cool, cool.
Great.
Very good.
Good. Had a good time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
indeed. No worries, Matt. Good to catch up with you. You have a great day.
You too.
All right, and everybody who is tuning in, thanks for watching, and we will see you at the next